Hello everybody, welcome back. We have finished our prefixes, and now we are going to move on to our suffixes. First of all, before we get started, I want to explain to you what a suffix is. A suffix comes at the end of a word, and when this happens, it can change the meaning of that word. Now, let's look at our suffixes. There are four different forming suffixes, four different types of forming suffixes. What are these? Well, the first one is noun forming suffixes. Noun forming suffixes. The second one is adjective forming suffixes. The third one is verb forming suffixes. And the fourth one is adverb forming suffixes. I'm going to go ahead and start from the noun forming suffixes. Noun forming suffixes. I'm going to go ahead and give you the first one. The suffix is aj, meaning belongs to. Belongs to. My second second suffix is ants. And ants means state of being. So when you see a word with this root at the end, with this suffix at the end, it's going to change its meaning and it's going to become state of being. Moving on to our next suffix is ant. And ant means thing or one who. Moving on to our next suffix is r. And r means relating to or like. Moving on to our next suffix is airy. Airy also has a meaning relating to or like. Our next suffix is "ence," and "ence" means state, fact, or quality. Moving on to our next suffix is "ent," and "ent" means to form. Moving on to our next suffix is "ik," and "ik" means like, having, sorry about that, having the nature. Moving on to my next suffix is "ein," and that's I-N, and that means nature of, and feminine, sorry about that, feminine ending. Now, moving to one of the most important suffixes in the English language, I'm going to go ahead and change the color here, is ion, tion, and ation. And that means being, the result of. Now, let's look at some example words. For example, condition. Condition. I'm going to go ahead and underline the suffix here, condition. And that means, well, the suffix means being, the result of. I'm going to go ahead and give you another word that is attraction. Sorry about that. Attraction. Now, let's go ahead and look at this word. Attract, as we all know, means to pull. To pull. And when we combine ion here with this, being result of, means a show or sorry about that, means a show. And I'm going to go ahead and use attraction in a sentence so you could understand it much more clearly. I'm going to go ahead and write this in red. Magic attraction was truly amazing. So if we have, sorry about that, so if we have this suffix ion, tion, or ation, meaning being or result of. It means, so if we have this suffix here, it means being or result of. This is a very important suffix. Moving on to our next suffix is ism. And ism means act or condition. I'm going to go ahead and give you an example here. For example, plagiarism. Plagiarism. What does plagiarism mean? It means to copy. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in a box. And this means act or condition. When we combine these two words, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next page. I'm going to go ahead and write plagiarism here one more time. Plagiarism. It means an act of copying. Moving on to my next suffix is ist. And ist means one or who. I'm going to go ahead and give you an example word here. For example, finalist. Finalist. Ist means who. And when we combine final and ist together, sorry about that, final or ist together, it means person who is in the final. Moving on to my next suffix is I've. And I've means of, belonging, belonging to, or quality. Moving on to my next suffix is meant. Means, a means, product, act, sorry about that, act, or state. Moving on to my next suffix is or. And or means person or thing that. For example, if I want to give you an example, I would say conqueror. Conqueror. Here is my suffix right here, and conquer means, as we all know, conquer means to sorry about that, to win. And if we combine conquer and the suffix or, it means person who wins. I'm going to go ahead and use conquer in a sentence. I'm going to say, sorry about that. Let me go ahead and rewrite my sentence. I'm going to go ahead and read that to you. The conqueror of the race was Jeff Gordon. Moving on to my next page is the suffix is ori, and ori means place for. My next suffix is die, meaning condition of or quality of. And we are done with the noun form suffixes, and now we are moving to the adjective form suffixes. I'm going to go ahead and write this for you. Adjective forming suffixes. And my first example is going to be able, and that means capable. Sorry about that. Capable of being. And if I want to give you an example word for this, it would be winnable, meaning capable of winning. Moving on to my next suffix is al, meaning like, and suitable for. Moving on to my next suffix is ants, and that means state of being. Moving on to my next suffix is ant, and that means thing or one who. These are adjective suffixes. Let's not get that confused. These are adjective suffixes. Moving on to my next suffix is r, and r means relating to or like. Same with airy. Airy also means relating to or like. Moving on to my next to my next suffix is ate, and ate means to become associated with. Moving on to my next suffix is ant, and ant means to form. Moving on to my next suffix is ile, and ile means function, of. Moving on to my next suffix is able, and able means capable of being. Moving on to my next suffix is ik, and ik means like, having, nature of. Moving to my next page, and to my next suffix is ian, and ian also means nature, nature of, or sorry about that, let me just go ahead and correct that, nature of, or feminine ending. Moving on to my next suffix is ive, and ive means of, belonging to, or quality of. Moving on to my next suffix is ori, and ori also means the same as in the noun suffix as in the adjective suffix. It means place, for. Moving on to my next suffix is us, and us means characterized by, or having quality of, Now let's go ahead and look at this suffix here, us. I'm going to go ahead and give you an example. For example, carnivus. Carnivus means meat eating animal. I'm going to go ahead and split this word up for you. Carne means flesh, or flesh eating. Flesh eating, or meat eating. Sorry about that, meat eating. And when I put this word here, us, sorry about that. When I put this word here, carnivus, this is our suffix. And when you combine these two together, you get a meat-eating being. Moving on to our next suffix is y. And y can it can be characterized in many different meanings. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the meaning. It is quality or somewhat like. We just finished our adjective form and suffixes, and we are moving to our verb form and suffixes. Our verb forming suffixes. I'm going to go ahead and give you the meaning is 8, and that means to become associated with. I'm going to go ahead and give you an example word. It's collaborate, and here is our suffix, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the meaning of this. This means together, work, it means together, to work, together. And when you combine this and this together, it means to work together. You are being associated with that person by working together. Moving on to my next suffix is fi, and fi means make or do. And I'm going to go ahead and give you an example. For example, intensify, and sorry about that, intensify. Also, I'm going to give you the meaning. It means to make something more extreme. I'm going to go ahead and read that to you. It means to make something more extreme. Our next suffix is or eyes, and that means to become like. And I'm going to go ahead and give you an example right now. For example, colonize. And colonize means to become into one. Excuse me. We just finished our verb forming suffixes, and we are moving on to our adverb forming suffixes. Let me go ahead and open a new page here. Just open a new page. For example, you have our first suffix. You have ik, meaning, sorry about that. First of all, let me go ahead and give you the title. It's adverb. forming suffixes. And my first, actually there are only two. First one is ik, meaning like or having the nature of. My second one is ili, meaning like or to extent of. We have just finished our suffixes. I hope you had a great time. Hope to see you next time in our